Up, 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 up. So the science of weight fluctuations. So I want to make this video because I really want to talk about the different things, reasons why you might see a little adjustments, fluctuations up and down in your weight. So I will lay out afterwards the top 3 key trends I see, generally speaking, in people's weight loss journey that I see with my clients that will really help understand how the scale works. And I've worked with hundreds of people over the years. And the common threads I see is people will freak out with minor fluctuations in the scale. So before I go over the 3 major trends, I'm going to outline the top 7 causes for weight gain spikes while on a diet. All right, number 1, salt. So salt affects our water both up and down. In the very short term, if we eat a high sodium meal, we will retain more water. We will eventually pee this out. But if you eat a high salt meal like fast food or a bag of chips before bed, in the morning weigh out is when you might see a cup being up a couple pounds from the day before. And this could be why. So if this is it, this is you, don't fret, get back on track, and your body will balance itself out and you will be right back on track. All right, number 2, carbs. So with an intake of carbs, the body tends to hold on to water like a sponge. So if you eat more carbs, your body's going to carry and suck in the water. You're carrying around more water. Eat less carbs, your body's going to pee it out. Here's why people on keto, for example, see such a drastic weight cut in the short term, but to a point, because you can only lose so much water, then it's all about fat loss. But this is also where most people fall off any crash or restrictive diets. Not saying keto is a crash diet, but for the majority of people that try keto, to be honest, it is a crash diet because it's not a forever way of eating, right? This is the difference between dieting and eating, right? If you are not able to maintain a way of eating for a lifetime, then technically, the way I look at it, it is a crash diet. All right, number 3, we have, where are we going? Late meal. So when we eat a late night meal before bed, you're literally going to have solid food sitting in your belly, right? Eat a big steak and potato meal before bed. Well, even though it's being digested and broken down, it's still sitting inside of you until you poop it out, or until you extract all the water out of the food as well and pee it out. So if you had a late night dinner, went right to bed, don't fret. Again, your body will balance itself out. All right, number 4, early weigh-in. And this is a cool one. It's a lot of science in this one. So if you usually weigh in at, say, 7 a.m., but for whatever reason you woke up early and weighed in at 5 a.m., you've now given yourself less time to what we call floating the weight off. Floating the weight off is a concept seen in weight cutting sports like combat sports, like mixed martial arts or boxing, where athletes will go to bed 1 or 2 pounds heavier than they need to be for their match, right? And what they know is people do lose several pounds of weight overnight through various biochemical, biological processes like sweat and even breath. That's right. With breathing, we lose and exhale H2O molecules. All right, this brings me to number 5. This little brown looking cloud. Well, it's not a brown looking cloud. It's a dookie. That's right. It's a poop, right? So poop weighs something. Whether it depends how big you are, depends how big your meal is, depends on the last time you took a poop. But the fact is that, say for example, if you had a couple late night meals, say you had a dinner at 5 or 6, then you had another large meal at 9 or 10, and then went to bed, chances are you have not pooped out those 2 big meals. So if you do a weigh-in in the morning, before you take a poop, you could be 2, 3, 4 pounds heavier than you actually are because that food actually weighs something, right? Like just the reason why we do weighing and measuring and scaling our food is because it weighs something. So if you are a few pounds overweight, ask yourself, when was the last time I took a poop? Because that stuff, like I said, weighs something. Number 6, this is supposed to be a barbell. So when you lift heavy, we see and get muscle damage, right? This is really what we do want. This is the whole goal of weight training. But what happens after a heavy, intense weightlifting session is the muscles will suck up nutrients like glycogen. And with these molecules comes water. So your body's actual natural process and repair cycle is to retain more water, because with water will also come other nutrients, because you're going to have your osmotic gradients. That's going to bring in nutrients. So if you did a heavy leg day, for example, and the next day or two after, you notice your weight being up a little bit from where you would like it to be or where it was the day or two prior, then this could be a reason why. All right, this brings me to number 7, stress. So stress is normal, and it's something we all deal with. And I really want to hammer on this one, as it's a big one. And it's one that a lot of smart marketers in the fitness industry like to take advantage of people on hammering on the point that you should train at their gym or use their program or use their eating strategy, because it will eliminate stress and in the process decrease fat deposition. And the story goes something like this. With stress leads to an increase in cortisol levels, right? Cortisol being the stress hormone. This increase in cortisol will lead to an increase in fat storage. But the reality is that an increase in cortisol by itself doesn't make your body retain fat. In the end, eating calories, excessive calories, makes you gain fat. Let that sink in. But if you're stressed, your cortisol is elevated, and you stress eat to a point that eating an excessive amount of calories for yourself, then yeah, you're going to gain weight. The secondary product of prolonged elevated stress levels is an increase in water retention. And for some people, this is going to be a lot more prevalent compared to others. Because I remember I had a girlfriend once that this really applied to. And there was a couple days I remember coming home and her face would look like a puffer fish. And I knew instantly walking in that I had done something. So if this is you and you're having a particularly stressful day, then don't stress about it. Don't worry about it. Just try and manage that stress and get through it. So if you're in a calorie deficit, these 7 things are going to cover 95% of the reasons your weight will fluctuate. So before you freak out, stop, breathe, reflect on the last 24 hours. Ask yourself, did I have a heavy leg day? When was my last poop? Did I scarf down some nachos before bed? If so, relax, trust the process, stick to your plan, and remember, it's not about being consistently perfect, it's about being perfectly consistent. What does that mean? It means get on the horse. Don't let a plate of nachos ruin your day, your week, or your month.